Good evening, Mrs. Aislinger and fellow classmates. Thank you for listening to my presentation on male same-sex family structure, family involvement plan. Same-sex families are exactly what they sound like. They are a family with at least one child that is led by two married males or two unmarried male partners. As of 2019, there are 543,000 same-sex married households and 469,000 households of the same sex unmarried partners living together. A more significant number is that 191,000 children living in these same-sex households. Now that number is increasing every year, and I'm curious what the 2020 census is going to show us, because same-sex marriage didn't become legal until 2015, and the last census was taken in 2010. Now, in the last 10 years, the U.S. Census Bureau has been doing research on how better to get information on same-sex households and the cities they live in. I predict that this is going to show a significant increase in the same-sex families. Currently, male same-sex households are half as likely as the female same-sex households to have children present in them. However, that number switches to the male favor when there are more children present. By the time that there are 3 children present in the home, they are more likely to be in the male household, 19%, than the female household, 14%. So while less male same-sex families consist of children, the ones that do have more children on average than their counterparts. These male same-sex couples live mainly in big cities that have that larger community of LGBTQ plus people. While that sounds confusing, all that really means is nationally, the average of same-sex households is only 0.8% compared to other households. But in cities such as San Francisco, that 0.8% grows to 3%. And of that 3%, 3/4 of it are actually male same-sex households. These same-sex couples are more likely to have higher incomes, both people employed, and a higher level of education. This leads some experts to believe that that is the underlying reason why children from these same-sex households do better in tests in elementary and secondary schools and have a 7% higher average of graduating high school. I was fortunate to interview Thomas McKay for this project. He and his husband have a sweet little girl in my class, and they are raising her and her 2 siblings. Thomas and PJ are both vocal online and love to educate and inform people to help bring about change in their community and ours. They are open and vocal, but they also keep their children anonymous online. While our interview lasted for over 30 minutes and I could happily go into it, I'll just hit the highlights here. I asked Thomas what was the best part of being the same-sex male family. And he said that because they were not socially allowed to love who they wanted and be who they were, that they appreciate love more and they give that love more wholly to their children. And I asked what strengths came with their family structure. And he said the fact that we go to the lengths that we go to be able to foster, to adopt, even to have children via surrogacy, that we are 100% in, and the children know they are wanted and that they are never accidents in our houses. And I asked, what are some of the downsides to being in your family? And he laughed and joked that there are none. But then he did say that yes, homophobia is still unfortunately a thing, and they get looks and they get whispers. And one of the phrases he hates the most is people saying, because you're gay, you're going to raise gay kids. He says that's just archaic, and I completely agree. And I asked, how can schools get your family to participate? He said, just treat us like you would any heterosexual couple. And I asked if there are any aspects of current school involvement that's intimidating or troublesome. And he pointed out events like Muffins with Mom and Donuts with Dad that are just not only exclusive to homosexuals, that they exclude grandparents and other types of families. He said events like that make children feel less and unwanted, and it just breeds insecurities. I asked, what do you wish teachers and other professionals knew about families like yours? And he said, it's the most literally cliche answer, but it is the most honest, that we are literally just like you guys. We discipline the same. We cry, we get frustrated. It's not always smiles and roses. We are brought up by parents, and we're parents. We're humans raising little humans. And this is Thomas and PJ and their beautiful family. They are open to being contacted again. They are all for helping change their small local community and the world at large. If you have any questions, feel free to contact them. Their Instagram is the way that they are quickest to respond, and it has links to their blog and other websites. Two of my favorite resources for professionals are Collage and Family Equality. Now, I do like to use online resources versus a journal or an academic paper, because while those are useful, these online resources give you those plus so much more. Collage is a worldwide peer-to-peer organization that actually has at least one of the parents is LGBTQ+. And they really focus on empowering the youth that have these parents, and that, hey, this is my family. I'm proud of them. I want you to accept them and treat us all the same. One of my favorite things that they do beyond all their extensive resources that have books for every age, and again, those academic reports, is they have a family week that is, it's actually a summer camp in Providence. And at this event, they're having fun with the kids, and they're teaching them how to speak up for their families, and they're joining them with other families just like theirs. They're building that support system so young. And while this is not a free week, it is available for scholarships. And it's actually co-sponsored with the other resource that I love online, which is the Family Equality. Now, Family Equality is a nonprofit organization that really focuses on attaining equal status with the laws and the lifestyle of the LGBTQ+ community. They actually have resources that will help current families, and they give detailed list on how to start your family with adoption, fostering, or surrogacy. Now, they do offer diversity and exclusion training for professionals, so that teacher or that nurse or any business can pay the $60 or $150, depending on which class they want to take, and get that much needed diversity inclusion training and get the certificates and to show the communities that, hey, we've done this training, we value you, you're welcome here. The textbook mentions several barriers to teacher and family partnerships. The two that I think affect same-sex males the most are the old ideas of parent involvement, which, again, as Thomas and I discussed, the muffins with mom, the donuts with dad, the father-daughter dances, they're automatically non-diverse with their language. Same-sex families, by definition, are not going to have that other gender to be represented there. So again, that's going to leave that child feeling embarrassed and left out and not sure if they're even allowed to attend that school event with their friends because they don't have that other individual. And I know family trees are a beloved tradition, but they're very exclusive too. Most same-sex males, families adopt or foster, and family trees are based on biological connections and DNA. That's going to make that child feel like their family isn't considered a real family because they don't have that DNA connection with their dads. And again, you're just fostering that insecurity and that feeling of less in the child. I suggest you get rid of those non-diverse, non-exclusive titles. Use other events that accomplish the same goal, like loved ones luncheon and family fun nights, and have children research the history of their current town to help build those roots instead of saying, hey, you're who you are based on your DNA and your current family doesn't matter. Let them know that their family is welcome and loved as they are. The other problem is time. School hours are usually during work hours. And again, the same-sex families are statistically shown to have both parents working. So they're not going to have as much of a chance to be involved during regular school hours events. I think the best way to combat that is to communicate. Send home daily notes and monthly newsletters. These are things that they can read on their own time. And also have projects that they can do at home with their children that don't intrude upon their family time. Projects such as asking them for pictures from family outings that they can put up on the display board. It is simple and fun, and it's already something they're doing, but still contributes to the classroom. Volunteering in the class doesn't have to be old-fashioned and boring. Again, that family fun night is one of my favorites. Just the term itself invokes a sense of fun and not the boring traditional meet and greets. It's an after hours affair, so again, same-sex couples are more likely going to be able to attend that. It's not going to feel like homework or an intrusion on the family time because you're providing games and fun activities for them to do with their children. When you provide food, you're also taking away them having to make lunch or make dinner. So you're saving them time. You're giving them more time to spend with their loved ones. And when those children start playing with their parents and other children, they're going to see that, hey, no matter what differences we have as couples, as parents, as caregivers, we still have this connection right here. Our children love each other and they love playing with each other, and you're building that support system. Use parents as a classroom resource. Get to know what your parents do. Ask the parents to come and talk about their jobs during lesson plans where it's relevant. If one of the dads is a police officer, ask them to come in and talk during Community Helpers Week. Or if he can't come in, send in age-appropriate materials that their child can share. And it goes with any career. If they do outside work, when it's outside fun time, again, have them come in or send in something that they can share. Ask the parents to demonstrate a hobby, or again, send in a result of that hobby. If they build birdhouses, let that child show off how awesome their dad is by the birdhouse they built. Ask the parents to come and talk about or send in an artifact that represents their religion or their culture. All of these are allowing parents to feel like they are meaningfully contributing to their child's education. And again, it saves so much time when they are doing this. Another important thing is to remind parents that learning happens everywhere. It's not just in school. And if they feel that they really can't do anything in the classroom, they can still teach their child at home. My favorite is baking cookies. Everyone eats and children love desserts. This is a fun activity. They can use a family recipe to enhance the child's sense of self and their history by saying, hey, I used to make this with my mom or my grandparent, and now I'm making it with you. Or if they don't have that, go ahead and start a new tradition. Find a new recipe and say, hey, I love doing this with you, and when you're older, you can do this with your child. Make that special. And simple baking teaches several skills. You have reading comprehension, you have math skills, and you're learning a basic life skill of cooking. You can adjust this activity for ages very easily. Say the child is too young that you really don't want them mixing the contents yet. go ahead and make the dough beforehand and let them help decorate it. And of course, everyone gets to eat the cookie afterwards. And another bonus, you can actually send cookies to class the next day if the administration allows. So this will help you feel that your child is more connected, and they're going to feel more connected in their classroom, and their family will be more connected. Read a book. It can never be overstated that reading is just a fundamental skill that everyone needs for every aspect of life. And when you read a book at home to your child, you're giving them that early exposure that has benefits for life. And you're demonstrating that the love of the written word belongs everywhere, not just at school. And a bonus for same-sex male families or any dynamic, you can choose a book that shows your family dynamic in ways that they haven't seen outside of your family. And it shows them how normal and loving all of it is. This is the flyer I made for my baking. I used cookies with cuties because I love a good alliteration, and it's all inclusive. It is simple instructions. It is just a way to say, hey, you're already teaching them without even knowing it. This is just another way you can contribute to your children's education. And this is the flyer I made for reading books at home. It's really intuitive already when you read to your kids at home. So you don't need to give these people a lot of instructions. They know what they're doing. Just let them know, hey, again, you're contributing to their education already. Keep it up. I did have a hard time finding local resources for families. Luckily, there are a few out there. Chattanooga Diversity Center is located in Chattanooga, and they receive funding through donations, fundraisers, individual and corporate sponsors. Now, while that sounds like Well, that sounds like a nonprofit. Nothing on their website led me to believe that they're a nonprofit organization. They do offer on-site counseling, and they have a variety of resources list. They have local doctors and local legal help, local counseling outside of them, and even faith services if you're looking for a church that is accepting of your lifestyle. They host events for LGBTQ plus minors and adults to meet and network. Chattanooga Pride is a local nonprofit organization that is funded through donations, individuals, and corporate sponsors. And they also have Amazon Smiles, which I thought was really good, a new way. You can click on them as your charity of choice whenever you shop on Amazon. They are located in Chattanooga, actually the same building as the Chattanooga Diversity, just on a different floor. So that must really be helpful. They host public meetings the second Sunday at 6 o'clock, and they host the actual Pride Parade in July every year in Chattanooga. PFLAG of Chattanooga is the local chapter of the national organization, the PFLAG, which used to stand for Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. Now they changed the after families. The website actually didn't list anything more than the location, generic location, phone number, and an email. But luckily, it's attached to the main PFLAG website that is full of useful resources. They were the first and the largest organization for LGBTQ plus individuals and their families and friends. And so their resources I found were so much more extensive. And they will start you out with the basics, and they show you intelligently and not insultingly, like Advocacy 101 information. And they can go all the way up to teaching you how to advocate for your families at the government level. 7 Cups was the technology tool I found that I had not heard about before, but I'm really a fan now. It is published by 7cups.com, which was founded by psychologist Glenn Moriarty. You can find it on computers, Androids, and Apple phones. I found that the computer version is a lot more user-friendly. There's just so much information. you want that bigger screen and you want that ability to see more and access more easily. It is available 24/7 with their resources, the chats, the communities, and the listeners. They do have free 24/7 listeners and self-help guides and those kind of resources. The only thing they charge for is if you want to, and it's not required, but if you want to, it's $150 a month for a licensed therapist. They recommend that you be at least 13 years old to be on their app and website. And they do have sections separated for the teens and the adults. The published description says that 7 Cups is an on-demand emotional health service and online therapy provider. I think this really helps my same-sex male families because they are a minority and they do have to deal with more anxiety than most people have to. Again, I'm really a fan of this app. I love that the icon is a little blue chipped cup. It's anonymous. If your friends or your family see that on your phone or on your computer, they're not going to assume that's a mental health app. They're just going to think it's another food app or something. So you can keep whatever you're going through a secret. And this app offers more than just the mental health aspect. It even has exercise and dieting tips to make you feel physically better, not just mentally better. It is a mostly free app, like I said before, and it's has 24/7 available help in forms of real people talking to you and listening. And even if you don't pay for that licensed therapist, the listeners are trained. You're not alone, and again, access them 24 hours. I love this app, and I'm going to tell my families about it. I'm going to tell my teenager about it because it is just that good. This is a screenshot of the phone app, and it really doesn't do it justice because, again, it's a very limited view. You could be on this app for days before you access everything that you would be able to use yourself. They have different ages and different reasons to be there, different groups. You can find what you need on this app. These are my works cited. I suggest that if you want any more information on same-sex male families, absolutely use these. And thank you again for listening to my presentation. It was a pleasure doing this and getting to know each of y'all.